What if you could reach a point where you never have to worry about money again and you can become work optional, meaning that you can say to hell with you to any job that does not bring you joy and you can work on projects that actually make you happy? In this video, I'm going to show you the path that we took that helped us to reach work optionality and become financially independent, and hopefully share some principles to help you achieve the same in your current context. So, without further ado, let's get into the slides. So allow me to introduce myself for those of you who are landing on this channel for the first time. My name is Patrick Mobilog. My friends call me Kiko. I'm an entrepreneur, investor, and a Lord of the Rings fan on his own personal journey to financial independence. That's the rest of my story and my family's as well. Go ahead and read it if you want to. And if you have, then let's continue with the conversation. A few days ago, or actually a week ago now, I posted this video about my own personal take on early retirement and the strategy that we've been using to build financial independence. And actually, more in that video, I discussed my own take on early retirement and some of the things that I might not necessarily agree with when it comes to the FIRE movement and the alternative that we have taken. But a lot of people who watched that video in the comment section and those who messaged me personally, we're starting to ask, so what has been your strategy? What has been your journey? And how have you been building your wealth, your finances, in a way that gives you the life that you want to live? And I think that the first thing that we need to really make clear is the biggest goal of all when it comes to financial independence. The goal of financial independence isn't to come to a point in your life where money just comes into your bank account and you have nothing to do. I realized that, and especially when I was talking about early retirement, how important that is to make us a distinction, because retirement can become very boring and very bland and very purposeless if all we think about when we think about financial independence in early retirement is to sit at home all day scrolling through your social media, watching all of the Netflix shows that you want. Yes, you can put some hobbies here and there, but even that in itself tells you that there has to be some level of activity. And we actually did somewhat of an early retirement last year. We kind of pilot tested it. Well, at least I pilot tested it. And I got bored out of my mind. And I realized this is not the path that I want to take. So, what has been my goal? My goal has been work optionality. And work optionality is not a point in your life where you no longer have to work. I think that when we think about work optionality, the common default is to say that I have the option to not work, and so I'm not going to work. But you see, I realized today that for many people, again, not all, but for many people, that's not really the goal, because what we really want is work that energizes us, work that we love. And that's why I make these YouTube videos and I started a business, because this is work that I enjoy, that I love. And there's this quote by Morgan Housel which really opened my eyes. He said this in his book, I think it was The Psychology of Money, and he repeated it as well in The Art of Spending Money. He said this: independence to me doesn't mean you'll stop working. It means you only do the work you like with people you like at the times you want for as long as you want. And I think that that's such a game changing, paradigm shifting idea, because now we have this realization that the idea and the goal is not to stop working, but it's to find work that gives us meaning, that gives us purpose, and that helps others in the process. And if you do that, you realize actually that you can reach financial independence way, way earlier on, even if you're not going to retire in the most strict of terms. And for some people, yes, those are hobbies, travel, gardening, looking at memes all day. Maybe, I don't know. To each his own, Mazel tov, right? But I find that the more that I speak to people who are driven, who want meaning in their life, who want to have a sense of purpose, that the goal of work optionality is not to stop working, it's to choose work that you love. And so over the years, we have built our own strategy to help us reach work optionality. And I'm going to share it with you, but a small caveat: I'm not saying that this has to be your goal. And I'm not saying that this has to be your strategy. But the reason why I am sharing this with you is because my hope is that you will see our strategy and that you can kind of maybe tweak it a little bit, build your own strategy, and implement it in your life in the way that you feel can really enrich your sense of meaning, joy, and purpose. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I had people who did this with me. And my hope, in especially the broader sense, my hope for this YouTube channel is that I can be that extension. There were people who invested time, effort, energy, and resources into helping me understand what it means to build work optionality in my life. And I'm super grateful for them. And this is my way of paying it forward. So if you're excited about that concept, let's dive right in. There are two principles at play here. The first principle, when trying to build work optionality for us, we understood the idea of Barista FIRE, which I've spoken about in a couple of videos, but I'm going to dive down deeper into this concept. And then the second one is reaching Coast FIRE. So FIRE is financial independence, retire early. I used to think that financial independence and retiring early meant just one thing, meaning having as much investments as you can where all of your money comes from passive income through dividends, real estate, and all of that. But there are actually different kinds of fire. There are different kinds of early retirement, if you want to use that term, right? And financial independence. When you really break it down and you understand all the concepts, there you see that there are a lot of options. And I can't speak to all the options. Probably make another video at some point to explain all of the options available. But the two kinds of fire that really fit our desire and our what really uh, that really fit our preference was Barista Fire and Coast Fire. And so we've taken a hybrid of both of these ideas. So let me explain them one by one. The first one is Barista Fire. Barista Fire is this point where you have income coming from passive investments, but you also have work to augment your passive income. And so you do have two sources of income basically. You have active income and you have passive income. In our case, our source of active income has been something that we call a lifestyle business. So we're business owners and we have been in the business of starting different ventures at many points. I went from being a freelancer to even starting a couple of tech startups, but the one that landed the most for us was running a marketing agency called Block 10 Strategy. And the reason why that worked for us is it became a lifestyle business. A lifestyle business is a business that adjusts to your lifestyle, not the other way around. So what that might look like is working only 20 to 35 hours a week, and which is the case that we have right now, that I have right now. My wife works a 3-day work week, and so she works anywhere between 4 to 6 hours every work week, or work day rather. And so that means that she's probably working anywhere between 10 to 15 hours on our business. But of course, she has other priorities. She's the one taking care of the kids, running the errands for the house, and shopping, and all of her beauty regimens. But that's the kind of life that we want to live. That your income is not tied to your time. That you can generate income because you have systems in place, and you do create immense value for clients without burning yourself out. This entire concept came from a book called "It Doesn't Have to Be Crazy at Work," which is based on David Hanson, who is the founder of 37 Signals. This is the company that created a software called Basecamp, which we used for so many years, but I never really understood their story. But the idea of this book, It Doesn't Have to Be Crazy About Work, is creating something called a slow company, a business that runs without you running the business 24/7. When we started as business owners, we were made to believe that you have to be always on, that you're working 7 days a week. You have to be available to clients, you have to be available to your staff, you have to be available to suppliers. And many of the business ventures that I started early on in the first 5 to 7 years of my journey as an entrepreneur, that was the case. And so I was very close to burnout, and even burnt out many times, because it was really just demanding so much time and effort and energy. And so I find that today a lot of business owners, especially in the Philippines, they have businesses that run their life instead of the other way around. And so we chose not to take that route. We wanted to still start businesses that would adjust to our lifestyle. And so the Barista Fire aspect of our early retirement, our financial independence, has been dependent on us creating lifestyle businesses. And we've been able to successfully build a couple of lifestyle businesses. Thankfully, you know, thankfully, again, once again, because of mentors who helped us, and really just the strategies that we've learned over time. So a couple of the businesses that we've started. So the main one has been Blockton Strategy, which is our marketing agency. This is our bread and butter right now. It is our financial engine. We also have a couple of real estate or properties that are earning semi-passive income for us. So the main thing for us right now is our Airbnb unit. This is my wife's passion project as well. We have a unit in Iloilo City. It's available if you wanna check out our unit. I'm gonna leave the description in the link below. If you're ever gonna visit Iloilo, we would love to host you as guests. And on top of that, I also started a coaching business, which is the Freedom Formula, and that's also tied to my personal brand, building income systems that give you real freedom. And I help business owners who want to also have a lifestyle business. And so many business owners do come to me and say, hey, I want to also build my business in a way where there are systems in place that can give me time freedom, uh, you know, completely decentralize me from my income, meaning I can create and generate income even if it's not tied to my effort. And I also want to create immense value without having to burn out. And so a lot of business owners come to me and say, hey, can you help me with that? So I consult, I help them, I coach them, I teach them the systems, the frameworks, I help them build the systems and frameworks into their business. And so maybe some of you here, you're entrepreneurs as well. And if you ever need that kind of coaching, then, I'll obviously be available to answer your questions. I don't have a lot of slots, I'll be completely honest, but, I mean, whenever you're watching this video, who knows? You might have some slots. I might have some slots available. And the other thing is, I've also built this YouTube channel, which is a business, by the way. I really appreciate your support. This is a hobby, yes, but I am, full disclosure, generating revenue through different things, affiliates, commission, ad revenue, of course. I also have a financial independence course. It's pretty new. It's still in the works. In the works, meaning, yes, it's available, but we're still trying to tweak it. We're starting to get a good balance of the content that will help more Filipinos to reach financial independence. So if you want to check that out, link also in the description below. And we've also acquired, like I mentioned, a couple of properties. The Airbnb unit being the one thing, right? That I mentioned that's the short-term rental. But we also have two properties as well. This one property is a long-term rental, and so we are generating revenue through rental income. This one is the property that we live in now. So I mean, technically, that's not really an income source. But these two properties are. I mean, if you want to be technical about it, the capital appreciation is. But I mean, from an active income standpoint, anyways, we have these three properties. Two of them are generating revenue, and so that's our current setup right now. So on the Coast Fire side, this is a concept that is a bit hard for some people to understand, but I hope that you would give me a chance to really dial down on the concept, because this is, once again, this is a big eye opener for me, and I hope it will be the same for you. So the concept of Coast Fire is that you invest for a certain amount of time until you reach a point where you have an investment that even if you don't contribute to it anymore, it's just going to continue to compound and grow. And by the time that you do choose to retire and start taking out dividends from that investment, that it's going to be more than enough to generate passive income for you. And so let me illustrate that by showing you one of our Coast Fire mechanisms. So we started investing into this fund uh, about a year and a half ago, that is available in Singaporean dollars. So it was an investment that we made in Singapore. I also made another video explaining how we did that. But when we invested in that, we put it into global market funds. And right now, we're at a point where we have invested about 24,000 SGD. It's actually a bit more than that now. So that's about 1.2 million pesos. Even by investing this right now, and if we keep that money invested, we don't pull it out, that money will continue to compound and grow. So here's a calculator showing how that's going to happen, right? So let's imagine that we want to retire at the age of 67 years old. And currently, right now, I'm 36 as I'm recording this. And I want this fund to generate about 12,000 Singaporean dollars, which is about 500,000 pesos per year for us. So that's about 40K per month, which, I mean, it's not a whole lot of money, especially if you factor in inflation. But let's just say, for instance, that that's one of the funds. Again, we have many other funds that we have built over time, but let's just say I want this specific fund to generate 40,000 pesos per month for me and my wife by the time that we retire. And so currently we have invested about 24,000 Singaporean dollars, 24 SGD, and we are contributing about $1,000 every single month, so about 45 to 47,000 pesos. So according to this calculator, the fire number for us is $32,700. Meaning, if we reach $32,000, this money will just compound, compound, compound to the point that it's going to generate that 12,000 SGD per year for us. And so that's actually going to happen 1 year from now. So according to this calculator, we're 1 year from Ghost Fire. So that means that if we just continue investing for a little less than a year, we're gonna hit that $32,000. We're at 24 now, so we're about 24, 32, about 8,000 left to contribute. Yeah, I think so. I'm so bad at math. 32 minus 24. Yeah, 8,000 SGD. So 8 months basically. If we reach that, then we can just stop investing, and this investment will grow on its own. And so we have been investing in funds like that. So we also invested in different funds as well to help us reach Coast Fire. So a couple of places that we invested in global markets. A big chunk of our investments are in global markets. The 24,000 SGD that you saw above, that's all in ETFs that track the S&P 500. We have diversified, however. That's not the only place that we've invested. We've also invested in local dividend paying stocks. So we have about a little less than a million also in local dividend paying stocks. And so they are earning dividends. The PSE is kind of sideways right now, so not a lot of capital appreciation, but we are earning dividends. The third one is we've also been putting in some funds into aggressive investments. And so these are more speculative. We have been putting money into AI stocks, AI funds, and high growth tech stocks as well. We've also started investing in bonds, not in Philippine bonds, more on Singaporean and European bonds. And we have also been investing in gold as well. Not physical gold, but gold that's stored up in vaults in different parts of the world. And so we have been taking fractions of that. So for those of you who are probably asking, so how are you doing that? I actually have another video where I talk about how we started to invest globally. We do it via a wealth manager. And so if you want to understand that entire concept, then this is the video that you want to watch next. The principle, universal principle that really comes into play here is a phrase that I hear from one of my most favorite content creators, Matthew Encina. Shout out Matt Encina. But he always says this, that you want to build a life by design, not by default. Now, this is not investment advice, and it's actually not finance advice, but he has kind of like built a life that I want to kind of emulate. And so the principle here is that you want to create a life designed for you. And there's a couple of things that come into play there. Number one is that your design might not necessarily resonate with my design. And so we all have our own personalities, we all have our own preferences. I might not want to stop working in later on in life, but maybe you do. And so if you do, then you also have to package and to design your retirement plan and journey according to that. By the way, it's not easy. And so that's the reason why I always talk to financial advisors, to mentors, to help me do that. Because, I mean, if I could figure it out on my own, then I could have solved this a whole lot earlier, right? But when you have a life by design instead of by default, what you want to create is a life that is custom to you, that you don't follow the trend just because that's the trend, but that you actually customize your decisions, customize your life, and what your life will look like once you do reach independence or optionality, and then make decisions based on that. So, a couple of practical tips to help you if you want to build a life by design and not by default and reach optionality and independence. Couple of things. Number one is you want to find the people that you emulate. Try to look around and ask yourself the question, who am I trying to follow? Who am I trying to copy? Not copy in a sense where you are going to follow everything that they do. Once again, there is a custom aspect to it, but like the closest template that you want to follow. And so for me, for example, is a couple of people. But one of those people is a coach named Joey Bonifacio, who has also been coaching me. And so he's 68, 69 years old. He just turned to 69, but he's still running a company. He still has a business, a new business. He's starting a new business. And now the beauty is, however, that he has kind of prepared financially so that he can start a new business from scratch. And that's the time that I realized when I was going through coaching with him, that that's also what I want to do. That in my 60s, even in my 70s, I am creating ventures, not just because it's making money for me, but it's because it's making the world a better place in the way that I want to. And so that's the first thing. Find people that you want to emulate. The second is you have to know also what works best for you. And like I mentioned many times, and I'm just going to continue to pound on this, what works for you does not work for other people. And so don't think that just because you saw this Instagram influencer who is lounging on the beach every single day, riding yachts, private jets, they don't have to work, that that's the kind of life that you want to live. Plus the fact that maybe that's not the kind of life that they even live. They're just selling that version of a life to you, but you need to know what works for you. And I mean, in some way or another, you have to try it for yourself. I tried an early retirement. There was a point where last year I realized, hey, I can probably survive for decades with the current investment without having to worry about money. And after a few weeks of doing that, I was bored out of my mind and I was trying to look for another business venture to start. So know what works for you. That's the second thing. And the last one is to design your own path. Design your own path. That takes time, that takes mentorship, that takes talking to professionals, but try to understand what that path will be like for you. Maybe you're an OFW and you want to go home for good. Maybe you need a business. Maybe you need dividend paying funds. Maybe you need to have passive income plus some form of employment here in the Philippines that might not pay as much as your job abroad, but because you have passive income, you can kind of balance it out. So that's just, one of the many examples of different case scenarios, but there are just so many hundreds, thousands of permutations of a life that is lived by design, not by default. So the goal of work optionality and financial independence is not to stop working. It's not to go and say, hey, I don't want to work anymore. Maybe for some it is, but that's not the overarching goal. The goal is to have a life where you live by your own terms, that you can continue to contribute to the world around you. You don't have to be a burden to your loved ones. Your kids don't have to be your retirement fund. You don't have to be a burden to extended family members. You can take care of yourself financially. And you have sources of income that don't give you dread, and they're not tied to your effort and time. So you are generating revenue even though you aren't killing yourself slowly. And that's what I hope to do with this YouTube video and this entire YouTube channel, really, is to show Filipinos other ways that you can generate revenue so that you can pursue the life that you want to live. I really believe that we can have a life that does bring us fulfillment, does bring us joy. And money is not the only thing, but it's one of the most important things that we need to get right if we want to make that happen. So hopefully that was helpful. And as always, you can subscribe to this channel if it was, and share this with a friend if you think that it can also give them value and can really open their eyes to the possibility that maybe they can also build a life by design, not by default. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.